Everyone loves a good underdog story, and I just found the ultimate story in a tiny nation called Singapore. And you might be asking, how could a small independent state with no resources become one of the most successful nations in the world? Well, if we were to set out some criteria for our underdog success, it would have to meet basic requirements to reach a first world economy. So the first thing a country might need would be resources. From that, you hope to gain some wealth. With that wealth, we need a geographical location that could be useful for international trade. Then you hope that the government would be strong enough to invest in infrastructure and education. And if that is accomplished, then we may have a happy ending for our underdog, Singapore. If we were to look at Singapore with that criteria, the first thing they'll be needing is resources. This isn't an easy ask because they had no resources to speak of. And why is that, you might wonder? Well, to start off with, Singapore was a British colony used as a trade post to service their merchant ships in Southeast Asia. After the British left, Singapore became a part of Malaysia before it was given independence, and this left it without resources. For an independent nation lacking in resources, gaining wealth can be a little tricky, so how did Singapore create a booming economy? The trick in these early stages was to do something a bit different. The government effectively removed the communist movements from their country and then liberalized the Singaporean economy, attracting foreign investment from the West. Singapore used its geographical location to position itself as a middleman between Asia and the world. With or without accessible resources, our underdog was determined to become wealthy. The Singaporean government used their acquired wealth to invest in education and infrastructure to improve the quality of life. Singapore built a strong legal system that provided businesses with a high degree of personal safety and incentives like low taxes and benefits. This created a snowball effect where Singaporeans benefited from opportunities to gain employment or create businesses that service foreign companies along with selling consumer goods to its workforce. So with the criteria successfully fulfilled, can we classify our international underdog as successful? Success requires a domino effect. Singapore has satisfied that by prioritizing wealth. Singapore created a stable and safe nation with a great culture that produces highly educated citizens while famously attracting expats. Singapore has reinvested this wealth into sectors like tourism, attracting millions of visitors to the country yearly, generating billions in additional income, and are continuously finding solutions for global issues like climate change. Making our underdog a bit of a success, you think, right? While Singapore has ticked off our criteria and excelled in many areas, no underdog story could be complete without a twist. Despite Singapore's success, it is a densely populated country that is expensive to live in with a low median monthly salary, and there is no minimum wage, making it difficult for people in low-earning professions to make a living, support a family, or even retire. Whichever way you look at it, Singapore is an international underdog of epic proportions, and whilst every other country has their fair share of issues, Singapore is always working towards finding creative solutions. This is a nation who has no accessible resources or stable infrastructure, but with a liberalized economy and a corruption-free government, our underdog became successful. Similar to us individuals, we can spread ourselves too thin looking at a global picture, as every individual is more helpful to the overall whole after self-investment. Singapore is onto something big, and the only catch is you have to start small.